Hello and welcome to The Reasons I'm Broke. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
And in case you're new to this, we are the podcast. We share how we're broke and what made us broke this week, usually in relation to comic books, movies, video games, a lot of cool things. And we usually start off on the indie side, but today let's go ahead and start with, I guess this is technically Marvel. It's the Disney Pixar Monsters, Inc., The Human Party. This is a one-shot. And if any of you have listened to the past episodes, you know how much I really like Monsters, Inc. as a movie. It's my favorite Pixar film. And I was waiting for this one because the last two issues were simply like covering the movies themselves, and they weren't original stories, which this one is. Mm-hmm. And I really liked it. A lot of the gags, unfortunately, were just from the movie.
Right.
So it was just repeating the same jokes if you had seen the movies a million times like I have. But otherwise, the story was kind of cool. Like, Mike is going to have this human party, which is our equivalent of Halloween. They dress up as kids and scare each other. But it's like a college type of party thing every year where things end up getting broke and his mom is going to come visit, so he doesn't want it to get out of hand this year. So he sets up these rules to kind of lessen all of that and not make a mess out of the house. It doesn't really work out and she ends up coming, but she's okay with it the whole time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like you said, it was just rehashing some of the jokes from the movie. That was the one thing I had against it. Otherwise, I thought it was a really cute comic. I really liked the art in it. It was really cute, really clean art. Like you said, the ending was hilarious where his mom shows up and sees the mess. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy for you." And he's like, "Well, why are you happy?" "Because you have all these friends." Like, poor Mike. But it was a really good issue. I would definitely recommend it.
And next month, it's going to be another Monsters, Inc. issue, A Perfect Date. So they're going to continue these original stories.
Next, on the Marvel side, we have the Superior SpiderMan. These seem like they're coming out every week.
Yeah, this is like the third one this month.
Yeah. But this is, again, you're following Doc Ock in Peter Parker's body.
Yep.
Running around, becoming a better Spider-Man. I don't think I like this issue as much as the past ones. I thought they were making Jameson a better character, totally on Spider-Man's side, and now, as he pointed out, he's got the spider signal. And Spidey comes out, he's like, "Well, I know you wouldn't do this because you're a smart man, and this is a pretty dumbass idea because now all my villains know where I am." Kind of making fun of Batman there a little bit.
Yeah, take a jab at Batman.
Poor Batman. But it was still an okay issue. You're finding out one of Peter Parker's friends, I can't remember her name, is starting to figure out who he is.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's also starting to be able to hear Ghost Peter inside his head. He doesn't respond to him directly, but there is a little point where you can tell he's starting to hear him.
And from the May solicitations from Marvel, it looks like Peter and Doc Ock are going to have a bit of a struggle over who does have Peter Parker's body, who it's really going to belong to. I think the tagline is, "Find out who is truly the superior Spider-Man." So in my head, that's telling me Peter Parker's going to come back, and it only took, what is it going to be, like the 8th or 9th issue at that point.
Right.
I didn't expect Peter to come back this quickly.
Right. I am still liking these, though. I like you get to see a little more of Doc Ock's character development. He's fighting one of his, I guess, used-to-be buddies. Vulture is what he's called. And they used to be, you see a little interaction where they, from his past, where they were friends. And then he comes to this present, and he sees that he's actually using children, that he made him hit a child in order to try and stop him, and he realizes what a monster that he actually is. But then he takes it over the top and
tries to murder him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it looks like Peter Parker's going to be coming back. I still enjoyed the issue, but a lot of stuff is happening underneath. It's definitely going to be a return for Peter Parker. I think I can say that for sure now.
You sound so sad. Yeah. I was enjoying seeing Doc Ock run around as Peter, trying to get with Mary Jane.
Really good Spider-Man. And staying on Spider-Man, actually, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 20. This one has the continuation of Venom. If you remember in the last time they had Ultimate Spider-Man, this was issue 19, Miles' dad ended up confronting Venom, or being confronted by Venom. We still don't know who Venom is, but Venom is going after Ultimate Spider-Man, and he thinks it is Miles' dad because a reporter somehow found the interaction between Miles' dad and his uncle and Spider-Man and all this. She kind of made the assumption that he was Spider-Man, and now Venom is going after Spider-Man, trying to kill him. Miles, of course, saves his dad. Venom says, "Wait, then you're the real Spider-Man." So he tries to stop Miles and hold him down and take off his mask and kill him and try to find out who he is. Meanwhile, Miles' dad gets seriously injured, and that's kind of where the comic ends, where you don't know if they're going to kill off Miles' dad or what's going to happen.
Right. It was a very intense issue. It is very sad at the end. In Spider-Man's dad's defense, he did attack Venom. Did you catch that? He went and he hit him over the head with something.
He was trying to save Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
He was trying to save Spider-Man, which made it all the more tragic. It wasn't like Venom just out of the blue, oh, knock you out.
Yeah.
Blunt head trauma.
The art was really good. Sarah Pichelli did a great job on this.
Mm-hmm.
She drew Venom really cool in some points and really scary in others, real creepy, and never drew him the same in every single panel. He looked different. And then just being able to draw Miles punching Venom and having the slime fly all over the place.
Gross.
It looks great against a white background. I thought it was awesome.
Mm. Next we have Adventure Time with Fionna and Cake. This is number 2 of 6. I'm going to have to actually go with this as my pick of the week.
Pick of the week.
This
Very
is
good.
what it is. This is continuing. You're following Ice Queen, who just got Flame Prince, and she's trying to do sinister things. You also get an introduction to Marshall Lee, who is the Marceline counterpart.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, you got the backstory where we see Lumpy Space Prince, who just made the whole comic for me.
The art was really good still.
It was.
A lot of it kind of reminded me of some Studio Ghibli stuff. Very reminiscent to Ponyo, and also, what was the other one? Howl's Moving Castle with the little flame. You kind of see some of those characteristics in this comic. Written and illustrated by Natasha Allegri, still the same.
But I'm really liking these comics. I want to say they're almost better than the Adventure Time for me, mostly because they're building up to a whole lot of love story.
You think there's going to be a love story between Fionna and the Flame Prince?
I think there's a love story between Fionna and everybody. Because you have the Flame Prince, who she just saved. You have Marshall Lee, who just popped up out of nowhere. You got Prince Bubblegum, or whatever his name is, who you saw in the second story invited her to his house. Probably Lumpy Space Prince with his creepy porno mustache.
And something else that got solicited as well for the Adventure Time fans is a graphic novel, an original graphic novel with full stories. This one looks like it's going to follow Flame Princess and Finn.
Aww.
So keep an eye out for that. That'll be out in April or May, one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's April, though. This one's actually going to be my pick of the week. It's on the DC Comics side. Legends of the Dark Knight number 5. This is kind of like a noir story. It follows this Gotham cop who's clean, and he does things the right way. But of course, any cop that ends up in Gotham and is clean ends up getting hurt, almost killed, and he gets lucky because he gets the help from Batman.
I still don't like this one. I thought Batman was out of character.
This one was written by Joshua Fialkov, and it was drawn by Phil Hester, who I really enjoyed the art from. This almost looked like something from Dustin Nguyen and kind of sort of from Darwin Cook. It's got like that old-time feel to it. The characters have like those eyes that are just slits sometimes, or they're just covered in shadow. And it was just a really good-looking comic book.
It was beautiful. I'll give it that.
You're right, though. Batman was a little bit out of character in some points. Like one of the examples you had mentioned was that he would have known that Bradley, which is the cop that we're following, was a Gotham cop, and that he wasn't just one of the criminals following the other criminals around in a car.
Right. Well, how it starts out is Bradley is a private detective. He's following a woman's husband because he's cheating. So he's getting evidence, pictures that he's cheating, witnesses him murdering his mistress. So he goes in to try and stop him. He's too late, sees the woman on the ground, calls the police to let them know that there's been a murder, and then leaves the memory card for the camera on the counter so that they have evidence that this is the man who had done it. Well, Batman shows up later trying to beat the shit out of him, and he's like, "You killed that woman." He's like, "No, I left the memory card on the table." And Batman just goes, "What memory card?" Batman would have known that he was a private investigator. Really, guys.
Yeah, I can somewhat agree, but I think it still follows the style of it, that everyone is against him, including Batman, until at the end he, like Batman tells him, prove you're innocent. And he does. He proves he's innocent near the end. And you do have Black Mask in here running around too. So, and I felt they used him effectively because
I agree.
At the end of the day, Black Mask is just like this really powerful mob guy. And
it fit well with the theme of the comic to use Black Mask.
Yeah, I really, really liked Legends of the Dark Knight number 5.
Next we have Batman Detective Comics number 17. This is continuing with Batman. He's trying to stop Gang of Smiles. I always forget their name.
The League of Smiles.
League of Smiles. And their boss, the Merrymaker, who's like, "Oh, Joker would want you to do this. Joker would want you to do that." I really liked this story.
It was really cool. It's a new villain that they introduced in the New 52, the Merrymaker. The costume is pretty cool. I liked it. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see one of the panels where he's holding up a knife to a girl's throat, and Batman crashing right through the window, stopping him.
It was a really good comic, though. You find out that the Merrymaker is actually the people that he's sending out. He was their psychiatrist, and he faked his own death. And one of the lines, it was my favorite line, and I think it's actually in the second part of the comic where you actually see the Merrymaker in therapy, and they're trying to determine whether he's insane or not. He says, for most people, the Joker inspires fear. For people who are already insane, he just inspires. I thought it was a great line. That made me so happy.
Yeah, written by John Layman. Really cool issue. We're going to see more of the Penguin in the next one. It looks like a number 18, Penguin. Emperor Penguin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you see him at the very end of the issue, and so you definitely know that's what it's going to continue. It kind of feels like this got interrupted by the Death of the Family line, by introducing like the Jokers and all the other.
Right. It was still a great issue. If it weren't for Fionna and Cake, this would probably be my pick. Mostly, I mean, even just those last, 3 pages where he's in therapy? Yeah. That was gold for me. I loved that.
We also have Catwoman, number 16. We finally got it.
This is my pass of the week, guys.
It continues the Black Diamond probability storyline. And it is her in the room with a bunch of evil objects, and she's doing battle with 3 different, what do they call them, like evil spirits?
Yeah, evil entities. You have the revived hand of an old boxer or something. You have haunted ink that was written on a page by some monk. And then you have a demon that just escalates things.
The Escalator or something was his name.
Escalator. Escalante was his name.
Yeah. I like the way he did his exit, though. Like, he leaves through the little portal and he says, "I'll get you next time, Catwoman. We'll meet again." This is like a cartoon.
It was really bad.
I know you wanted to drop the Catwoman series after 15, but I think things should get back on track with number 17. And I think number 17 is actually going to cover her recruitment to the Justice League of America, which also debuts this month.
Fine. It was really bad, though. Just, you know what? Skip 15 and 15 and 16 if you haven't gotten them. And then I'll tell you if you can pick up at 17.
There you go. And next is the Young Romance number 1, the Valentine's Day special, New 52.
You see Superman and Wonder Woman making out on the cover. I really want someone to do a Hawkeye initiative for this one.
Yeah.
Because it would be hilarious. I was really looking forward to this one. It did not live up to the hype at all.
Yeah, you get a story from Batman and Catwoman. That's like the first romance story. Aquaman and Mera. That's the second one. Batgirl, she has her own little love story in this. Nightwing with Kyle Higgins. Apollo and Midnighter. And then finally Superman and Wonder Woman. So there's 6 stories that you get in here for the price, which is $7.99. And that is probably mainly why this is my pass of the week. Yeah, you get some Valentine's Day cards in it.
Which are hilarious. Do we have pictures of those?
Yeah, I'm going to put them up. Okay. I think we should cover the stories real quick, though. Mm-hmm. The first one, it's very weak. It's got the Batman and Catwoman storyline, how they first met, and how she kind of sort of fell in love with Batman. I don't think that Batman had quite fallen for her, but he did give her that chance and said, return these things that were stolen, or think about it next time before you steal something, that you are impacting people's lives. You know, this television that you took, that could have been everything they had. This is what their whole lives revolved around. And you took that away from them just to get new boots. The day you recognize it and stop doing those things is the day you'll be closer to me.
Yeah, it wasn't very strong. In their defense, maybe they're holding off because of the romance that we're going to see after Death of the Family. Maybe, or maybe they just didn't write a good story.
I think it'll definitely continue in Catwoman number 18, because at the very end it does say Catwoman does see Batman in number 18.
Right.
So let's see if she does help him cope with whatever happens in Death of the Family. I still predict Death of Damian in the new Catwoman issue.
She's got to dump her dumb boyfriend, though, from Catwoman.
Yeah, that cop guy.
Weird cop guy. The next story is Aquaman and Mera. And this one really didn't make a lot of sense. They're retelling a story of a woman who is in love with a sailor, and he died at sea, and she waited at the lighthouse forever for him. until she eventually died as well. And their ghosts are kind of reunited at the end, and Aquaman and Mera make out.
Like, it's supposed to be they represented those things,
Right.
but it was not done well.
Not at all. It was, I could follow, but it was very confusing.
The next little chapter in this love story thing, the Valentine's Day special, is the Batgirl one. And this one has the character of Ricky, who was in the past couple of Batgirl issues. He lost his leg when he was being tortured by the last villain. And at that point in that story, Batgirl and Ricky had kissed. And he can't stop thinking about it, and Batgirl finds him again. She fights off a couple of gang members that were trying to get Ricky for being a squealer. And then he says, look, can we just kiss one more time? And she does, and she enjoys it. And he's like, well, maybe next time we can actually go out to dinner and do stuff. And she's like, dream on, Ricky, and flies off.
It was a cute story, though. I think they will build more between these two characters. Because he does say, she points out, I can't just go out. I have stuff to do, and it's dangerous for me to do this kind of stuff. And he goes, well, you know what, maybe one day, when you don't have to worry about that, you can just walk up to me on the street. You don't have to tell me who you are, but we can just go out. You just ask me out.
And this next one I know you're excited to talk about in the little story here for Valentine's Day special. It's entitled Apollo and Midnighter Soul Brothers.
You mean Batman and Superman, gay lovers?
It's literally all it was.
Yeah, you follow this shining guy named Apollo who flies and probably brings justice and is a Boy Scout. And he's on his way to find his man, Midnighter, who's dark and beats up people and throws them out windows and all this stuff. And he's like, hey, you want to go out? And Midnighter's like, no, and leaves. And then he's heartbroken, and Apollo goes out with a little gay guy with eyeliner.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the whole story.
They're in the bar, and it says, continued in Stormwatch. And I'm like, okay. Continued in Justice League, you mean.
I don't think it was as relevant as some of the other stories they put in here. But when you read between the lines, it's Superman's in love with Batman.
Yeah. This one was probably my favorite of these stories.
Mine as well.
Was the Nightwing one. It's written by Kyle Higgins. And this one was a clear representation of what it is to be a crime fighter on the streets. Mm-hmm. He kind of feels what it's like to be Batman because he can't land that relationship no matter how hard he tries. And the message here from the girl that he does make a date with is, don't just live for the length, like don't love for the long portion of a relationship, live for the moments. And I think she teaches him that lesson by not showing up to the dates, because he so enjoyed their time together when they were just making the date and fighting together and all that, that when he's left alone to reflect, he realizes that is what has to be important, is those moments.
Right. I'd say a bittersweet issue. It was written really well. It was sad to see that happen to Nightwing, but you're right, it is a good representation of what it means to be a superhero. You can't meet those expectations of, we're going to go out this time, and this time. You have to be prepared to just drop everything and enjoy those moments that you did have with the person.
Right. And the final story was called Truth or Dare. It's the Superman and Wonder Woman part of it. A very big thing is the Superman and Wonder Woman relationship.
I can't think of one. I remember Wonder Woman and Batman.
Right, in the animated series. That was pretty cool. So this was their story. They're on a date. My favorite was the panel where Superman has his glasses and he's taking them off, and they're talking about secrets. And he's like, it's okay if you don't want to talk about them. Believe me, I know what a burden it can be keeping secrets.
Look back on Apollo and Midnighter. But yes, that's pretty much what happens is Apollo, if you heard us talking about the Wonder Woman trait, Apollo is Wonder Woman's cousin.
Yeah.
Is that what they say he is? And he's got these two gold guns that if you get shot with a bullet, then you fall in love with whatever you see. Well, they're taken over by these sirens who in turn take over Superman and try and get Superman to kill Wonder Woman, but then Wonder Woman saves them all. And then Apollo's like, I'm going to make sure you never hurt my cousin, shoots him with a bullet. Wonder Woman's like, no, I want you to be in love with me for me. And Superman's like holding the bullet. He's like, but I am. But he was thinking about Batman.
That's what he was really protecting.
Yes. He's like, I can't lose my love for Batman. No.
Let's talk about these Valentine's Day
Oh,
cards now.
hilarious.
They're cheesy and they're awesome because of that.
They are the
it's
best.
Got all kinds of the superheroes and a couple of villains on them and little puns on their stories, on the little card there. Like, what was Robin's here? It says, I get a sidekick out of you.
What's Damien doing giving Valentines to people? Catwoman's predictably, you're perfect.
Flash says, you stole my heart in a flash.
I love, this one's my favorite. It just says the new 52. And it says, you've been rebooted as my Valentine.
DC has a sense of humor.
DC just didn't give a damn.
But by far the best one is the one with Jonah Hex that says, you put a hex on me, and he's shooting hearts out of his guns. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Best part of the comic right here. These things.
Good kind of terrible, yeah.
Now, on to the bad news.
Yep, some cancellations.
DC had some more cancellations. I'm really bummed out. Sword of Sorcery, Amethyst. I was really loving this. I was loving where it was going. Cancelled.
6 titles got canceled. DC Deathstroke, Fury of the Firestorm, The Savage Hawkman, Ravagers, Team 7, and of course Sword of Sorcery. I don't feel like they gave Sword of Sorcery a fair shake.
I agree. Beyond that, it was a good series. I don't think that they took it as far as they could have. I think it would have done better if they went more along the lines of the DC Nation short and advertise that bitch to girls. Make it very manga. Take out the Constantine stuff that they did. I felt like they were trying to pull in boy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that if they had made it a girl's book, it would have been stronger and possibly have done better.
Yeah, it's a shame that it is being canceled. The last issues will be in May. But there are some replacements. One of the few things they announced is the 2 issues, companion issues, The Green Team. This is written by Art Baltazar, drawn by Franco. And you also have The Movement, which is written by Gail Simone and drawn by Freddie Williams II. It's called, like the tagline is Meet the 1% and Meet the 99%. So to kind of compensate, I guess, for the Superman Family Adventures being canceled, to give you more Art Baltazar and Franco, you got this new series. And then I guess they felt bad also about Gail Simone and the Batgirl thing, and she has the movement.
They gave her a series too. Are these like the makeup series? Instead of makeup sex, they're like, I'm sorry, here's this series for you. I am very excited to see where they go with these though, because you said they were going to tie in superheroes as well.
Yeah.
So in the 1%, you'll probably see Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
Hopefully. And the 99%, who's a bum?
A bum. The Question.
Okay. Maybe you'll see The Question. I know, is Flash rich? Green Lantern?
Oh, not really.
Okay, they
No.
can be in the 99%.
Not Bruce Wayne rich.
Nobody's Bruce Wayne rich, but Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's not even Bruce Wayne rich.
Yeah, I normally like my politics and more like in a metaphor when it comes to comic books, but with this team, I don't really see how it can go wrong.
Right.
Speaking of Art Baltazar and Franco, they have a new comic book coming out, Oh Yeah Comics, and this is pretty awesome because their Kickstarter, they met it within hours of the first day that it was up. It was $15,000 was their goal. Now they're trying to get up to $30,000, which I'm pretty sure they've met at this point.
I'm sure.
I bought the first 3 issues. I donated. I saw that they had like a spot also for a guest spot on their podcast. I think it's called Oh Yeah Podcast, and that one sold like so quick. There were 3 spots, and I'm like, God damn it.
I would have done it. Here, take my money.
But it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool series.
Mm-hmm.
We liked Superman Family Adventures. We were sad to see it see, but now we got Oh Yeah Comics, and of course you got the 1% comic from them as well.
Lots of exciting things to look forward to.
We're also going to be doing a Let's Play with Dead Space 3. We had mentioned it before, how maybe we were going to be doing it. Well, we're definitely doing it now. We've got the equipment to do it. We're going to start off on Chapter 2, and we're going to hopefully get to the end of the game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You and I always talk during Dead Space 3, and I know you really like the game.
I'll be scared the whole time.
Yeah. So check that out. Once it's up, I'll put up an annotation on this video so you can just link over to it. Otherwise, it'll be a separate thing on the YouTube channel. If you follow us on YouTube, we'll have it under Let's Play with Dead Space 3.
Speaking more on video games, We had Rayman Legend do something, I think this was incredibly stupid of them. Ubisoft. They took their Rayman Legends, which was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, pushed it back 6 months so we can release it on the other consoles as well.
On the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. From what I understand, they saw the sales from the Wii U, and they kind of saw the sales from Zombie U, and went, oh shit, let's go ahead and push this back and release this on all 3 consoles because we're not going to make that much from the Wii U. Good decision, bad decision, what do you think?
I think it was a terrible decision. I think they should have still released it on time on the Wii U for all these people who've had it pre-ordered, and then 6 months later release it on the other consoles. That way, you satisfy the people who already have it pre-ordered and are waiting for it, and then you get the hype from those people talking to their friends who only have PS3s and Xboxes going, man, this thing is awesome, you guys gotta get this game. So now in 6 months you got all those pre-orders for it, and you've just sold all those copies as well.
Yeah, unfortunately they've pissed off a lot of fans. If you look on the Wii U message boards, for each one of the games, I usually do some drawings and I put them up there. People talk about the games, they do some tip sharing. They have a lot of really upset messages on there, like, what the fuck, Ubisoft, why are you guys pushing it, and so on and so forth. At this point, I guess Ubisoft should have just left it, like, oh well, we've pissed off fans, that's it. Well, they're releasing a Wii U exclusive demo.
Stupid.
The second one.
So basically they're just releasing part of the game that they get to play in 6 months, when they could have been playing at the end of this month.
Like, I see what they were trying to do. They're trying to give them a little bit more game to, I guess...
They should have given them the whole game. Here's this whole game, like we said you were going to get. Because it's not even, we're postponing 6 months to make the game better. The game is going to be exactly the same the end of this month and 6 months from now. All they're doing is trying to sell more. Now, how many people did you piss off and they aren't going to buy that game now?
Well, even if they do some exclusive content, I think just how upset people are now, I don't think it was worth it.
No, it wasn't.
You're right, they should have released it on time and then released it again on the other systems. Wouldn't have hurt their sales on the other systems, and then you would have had the people that were really looking forward to this. And I understand on a lot of the Wii U demo kiosks, that was the only game that was up, and from that, people were really enjoying it.
I was really enjoying it. I was looking forward to this game because it was so much fun. Every time I go into GameStop, I have to play that demo, and I rock at it.
But I think that's it for this week. Look for our Let's Play Dead Space 3.
Mm-hmm.
Those will be up soon, very shortly, if they're not up now. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter, @ReasonsI'mBroke. Let us know what made you broke this week, #ReasonsI'mBroke. Also, iTunes. We are up on iTunes. In a couple of days, I'll put up another 8 or so episodes. Like I said, I do have like a limit per month that I can put up, so I'm trying to put them up as quickly as I can. I'll eventually catch up to it. But yeah, iTunes, just search Reasons I'm Broke. Leave us a review. That actually helps out when people search for certain podcasts. And also on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Let us know how we're doing, how we can improve, what you're enjoying, and what you want to see. Right? I think that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for listening. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
See you next week.